Hey everybody, it's Contract Lancer. I'm back from my little bit of hiatus. There's stuff going on in the background in my life that I have to deal with, and that's why I have been slow with the videos lately. But I think I got a good one for today. Now, this video is going to be about freedom of expression. The reason why I want to talk about that today is because of what happened with Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, when she received her Freedom of Expression. The Freedom of Expression Award was awarded to, Susan Wojcicki, because of YouTube's ability to, respect freedom of expression and not completely crush people who have, ideas that are not corporate friendly or have profanity and jokes and stuff that they don't like. But obviously, this is a giant hypocritical notion because number one, YouTube paid for this award because they sponsored it, and number two, Susan, even during the whole speech, said that they crushed 9 million videos. 90% of them were done by bots, and the other 10% of them were done by presumably manual humans doing the work and deciding that these videos they're not kosher for YouTube. So yeah, hypocrisy at its finest. Political hypocrisy over freedom of expression, and that is what I'm going to talk about today. Freedom of expression in the U.S. is pretty important, and usually it's a very big talking point when it comes to political discussions, when it comes to both left-leaning and right-leaning discussions. And it's becoming more and more of a problem because of basically the internet, because of social media and things like that, and how we're going to deal with certain points of views online. Specifically when it comes to YouTube is the best example. I cannot make a video with bad words, with bad jokes, as in like offensive jokes, because I might get demonetized or whatever. I'm not monetized right now, but when I do, I have to make sure that I bleep out all my bad words and make sure that I am as corporate friendly as possible. I have to make sure that my content is suitable for children, even though I'm not marketing to children whatsoever, and most of my people who watch this are above the age of 18. Which is my target market, is between 18 and 30, whatever. I don't know. So make sense of that. Anyways, enough of me complaining. I'm going to discuss freedom of expression in the corporate environment and why this affects you as software developers and corporate software developers, contractors, and just overall freelancers. Stay tuned. Like and subscribe, please. It helps me. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to discuss freedom of expression in the corporate environment. Now, let's start off by saying that there is no freedom of expression in the corporate environment. You cannot get away with saying just anything you want. You might offend someone. That's usually how it goes. If you offend a person inside the workplace, you might get a complaint. If you offend someone outside the workplace, they might just band together and try to get you canceled in the worst case scenario. Now, this has happened before, and I have an example for you, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So, the way I'm going to discuss this video is usually with the least egregious thing that you can get away with versus the most egregious thing that you won't be able to get away with in the corporate environment. Now, the least egregious thing that you can get away with, but it's frowned upon, is profanity. So, it's very rare that someone gets fired for saying something like that, saying profanity. But it is looked down upon because people want to be prim and professional and all that stuff. I get it. You don't want to go around your clients and stuff just dropping F-bombs all over the place. I can understand that. What I don't understand is having this kind of policy with your workers, with your coworkers or whatever. This can happen when there is political, office politics going on, and it could be used against you. And people will look at you as the guy who isn't professional. You don't want that to happen. So when it comes to profanity, you want to watch your language, and I think this is the easiest compromise to make because I can see why you can't say it, but it does go against freedom of expression, and technically it doesn't hurt anyone. You're not threatening anyone, you're not doing anything that violates the First Amendment, you're just saying what you want to say, but corporations don't have to abide by that either, and they can set their own policies, and if you offend anyone, they could throw a complaint your way, and then it's all downhill from there. Speaking of, the next thing, you gotta be careful with the jokes. Just like I mentioned in the video, you can't say certain kind of jokes anymore, especially jokes that are offensive. And even though I like a good joke or two here and there, especially the offensive ones, my guilty pleasure, but normally the funnier joke is the ones that are the darkest, because they point out aspects of humanity and point out humanity's suffering in a way that can be spun then you get a little chuckle out of it. And that's usually what comedy is. Comedy comes from misery. Miserable human beings in the workplace. Well, whatever. You know what I mean. If you say the wrong joke at the wrong time to the wrong person, HR, you're going to the and they're going to throw something your way. They might not do nothing. If they're much more lax about it and say, hey, no, chill out. You know, you're being a bit too puritanical. Or they could tell you and say, hey, watch what you're saying. We heard what you said. And then you're on the S list on that point. And the next thing above that is that they'll send you to some sort of sensitivity training. And then the next thing above that is just terminating you. If you said it way too many times, it's becoming too problematic. And the final thing, the big thing, the biggest taboo you can say in the corporate world, the corporate culture, is political point of views. And this is the biggest hypocrisy that I think corporations have, because corporations will espouse their point of views, their political point of views to you inadvertently or advertently. But you better follow the line, you better toe the line, you better not say anything political, especially if you are on the opposite side of the spectrum, because then that becomes a problem. You become problematic. And what happens to problematic people in the workplace? Well, they're not going to advance at minimum. And at maximum, you might get mothballed. You might get, what was it, 86? I think that's what the old way of saying, you're going to get fired. You're going to get. So, yeah. And the examples I have for this are kind of easy. Number one is Google itself, actually. We're talking about YouTube. Hey, talk about Google. Google had a little event happen when a software developer decided to espouse his point of views. Now, Google is a notoriously left-leaning company, and this particular software developer had a right-leaning point of view, a very conservative point of view when it comes to gender roles. And some people complained online. Google found out about it, and then this person was fired. This became, I think, a lawsuit happened afterwards, and I'm not sure if he won, because I don't know how he would have won, considering it's an at-will state, and corporations are not obligated, especially tech organizations are not obligated to have your freedom of expression in mind, which is why all this can happen. That's the corporate culture. That's what it will do. So if you go counter to the politics of the corporation, then I'd keep my mouth shut, unless you want to get fired. But don't worry, it's not just left-leaning corporations that have this issue. Right-leaning corporations also have this issue. Amazon, notoriously so. Amazon is notoriously anti-union, which is unionization is a left-leaning idea. And if you discuss unionization, they will do everything in their power to stop it. That's what they've done to their workers in the workplace. And you think they're not going to do it to you if you're a software developer saying, hey, maybe unionization is not a bad thing, or espousing it online, which is another issue? No, they'll do something about it. These corporations are very quick to make sure that you know exactly what the political climate is going to be in that workplace, even though they try to be neutral, which is what they would like. But obviously, since they're corporations, they have their incentives to nudge you in the right direction, right being the correct direction, not in the political sense. Corporations will use whatever they can to ensure that the workplace is as efficient as possible, and they would like to be political neutral, but they will make sure that not to rock the boat. Essentially, is what I was trying to say. And that, my friend, is the reason why freedom of expression is non-existent in corporations, in corporate culture, because you have to go around all of these you have to navigate around this environment. Essentially, you have to be apolitical when you go into it, especially on social media. Some corporations, not all, they will look into your social media when they decide that they want to hire you for a job, or if they want to just check up on you whenever they want to. I don't have proof of them doing it, but I do know that if your social media is public, they can look into it, especially when they go and try to, do a background check on you, or if they try to just make sure that you're a real person who's saying what they're saying, and you have no controversial point of views. There is nothing against this in the laws of the U.S., and once you have something that is public, is there forever. This particular video is going to go on LinkedIn, and I can't wait to see the comment section on this and see if they agree with me or not. But Contract Lancer is technically apolitical for this reason. I do not have a point of view when it comes to my YouTube channel. I'm just going to tell you how it is, and that's all I can really say. Corporations are only after their vested interest, and you, as contractors, developers, freelancers, whatever, have to be out for your vested interest. So you might not like the rules, you might not like how it is, but if you want to advance, or if you want to find more work elsewhere, then playing by the rules is really the only option you got. It's not all bad, but just watch what you say, especially on social media, because that is another avenue that people get fired for just saying stupid things that they shouldn't have said. And especially when there's a public outcry, a corporation will value their own reputation over your livelihood every day of the week, any day of the week. And just remember the lesson here. Corporations can espouse their political opinions all over the place, but you cannot have your own freedom of expression. You can't be, what you are normally. So freedom of expression does not actually exist in the corporate culture. Just whatever they want you to express, essentially. And that's it. That's my video. I didn't want to go too crazy on this. I kind of want to just get this one and done, and hopefully I will see you later. I'll do something, just to get it done. I don't know how to end this, but I want to be zooming in. I want you to zoom as much as possible. Just zoom in. Yeah.